click on this thing, and oh yeah, it just goes live now. Hey, we're live. All right. I forgot to change the settings after I had to change my password on Twitch after they got hacked. To just go live when I click the button.
I actually tested out the that other streaming software the other day.
OBS?
Yeah, OBS.
Yeah, I haven't played with that yet. I wish I had the time.
I watched a 4-part YouTube video on it, on just the guy arranging a window, and I'm sure it's all the same stuff you can do in XSplit, but it's free.
Yes, which is very nice.
Yeah, it was just cool because the guy put like this animated GIF in the background that was just kind of this circuitry looking stuff, and then he introduced these graphical boxes where he put a game in one of the graphic boxes, and then him in the other one, and then
Oh, nice.
had a Twitch chat in there, and it was just very TV show-esque looking. And
Yeah.
I was impressed at how little effort it took. I mean, granted, most of the effort would have been in making the graphics, which I have no
Yeah, me neither. Yes.
no skill in.
I have none of that.
Anyway,
Oh, excuse me. Okay. Now that we're live streaming, are you ready to kick this show off?
yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. Excuse me. Let's get started in. Whoop, hold on. I gotta retweet this stuff. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I should do that too.
Click on that guy. Click on that guy. Retweet. And that worked, unlike earlier. Orange Cat is going back to his little spot. We should have brought him into the vet the other day because his ears were looking really gross. They had like black gunk in them. He actually has 2 ear infections. One is like an ear in one ear is regular ear infection, and the other ear is like a yeast infection. I was like, how is that possible?
Wow, that blows.
Yeah. Poor cat. He's like, when we got him, he was 8, and I think he turned 9 now. He's just an old cat. Had a rough life. Over here cleaning himself. They had to put him under to clean his teeth and clean his ears and everything, and they shaved a little bit of his leg too. Just like, man, this poor cat.
Adding insult to injury.
Yeah, really. Man. Okay. I think we're ready to go. You ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's do this in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Going around the room, we have Musim.
Hello.
Repping the Pillars of Eternity Kickstarter backer t-shirt that I got, and also have not taken it out of the packaging yet.
I did have that brief moment of, do I just leave this in the packaging and keep it in the box as a collector's, or?
Right. Did you get like a physical box, or did you go with the digital one?
Oh, I got the physical one.
I really wish I would have. I thought I did, and I went and looked it up, and I got the digital only tier plus like the t-shirt and stuff.
Oh man, okay, this is bad for a podcast, but it's good for streaming. 1 second.
Okay. He's wandering into the background, picking up some sort of box.
Okay, so this is my signed
Oh no.
Pillars of Eternity
Oh, you monster. I want that.
giant box.
Oh, it's full size too.
It's awesome. Chris Avellane drew some weird little soldier guys hiding behind the binding.
That's even cooler. Man. So if you want to watch this, look at our YouTube channel or twitch.tv/E1M1 Network.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think I have instituted, I paid a lot of money for the Amplitude Kickstarter to get a PS2 box, and I paid way more money than I should have on the Toe Jam and Earl one to get a box. I think if it's a game I really care about and they're making a box, I think I just sort of have to suck it up and say, I really like boxes and I really like stuff. I'm just going to have to do it.
Well, and of the 20 or so Kickstarter projects I've backed, Pillars of Eternity 1, I received this within days of the game launching.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Which is nuts. That has never happened. And 2, I think the two game Kickstarter projects I backed that came with actual physical boxes were this and Wasteland 2, and both of those boxes are freaking epic, and I am very glad I bought them. So I highly like, especially where those companies are concerned, I think you can safely
Yeah.
assume that your
Well,
packaging will be awesome.
what's even crazier too is I went to the site the other day because I realized I never got the Steam code for the final version. So I went there to go download or grab the code, and I saw all the stuff that I had gotten, like a novella and like the soundtrack and all this stuff. What I was really impressed with is how transparent they were. They have this thing where there's like a making of documentary they're making, and they said, all right, cool, on March 26th we finished shooting and now the company's doing it, in the next couple weeks we're gonna have it. And like the novella hit, he's like, all right, Chris Avallone's writing it, it's due out this month and we're making really good progress on it. And it's like, that's kind of cool, because most people would be like, coming soon, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
I paid for that stuff, like, when is it coming? And I really liked that they were honest about, you already paid for this stuff and we owe you kind of the progress of it. I thought that was pretty cool.
It's a really appealing feature for a Kickstarter, like
Yeah.
them and Double Fine,
Yep. Double Fine's
especially
great on that.
especially the Double Fine one that Brad Baird Bird, what's his name?
Brad Muir.
Muir, that's his name.
Yeah. The smiley guy.
Like his project, like he's been streaming his game every week since the Kickstarter launched,
Yep.
which is insane to me.
Yeah.
I haven't kept up, but I appreciate that it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a super fan of that stuff, like, there's so much content for you to continue to get, and I feel
Yeah.
like if you're really invested in it, if you spent that much money, like, that's pretty cool.
So I guess I may as well start out talking about that game.
Yeah,
then,
just
huh?
I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I cannot wait.
So I've just been absurdly busy lately.
Yeah, me too.
Just been a lot to do, vet stuff, whatever. But I finally got to start this game this week. My big apprehension from playing the beta is the beta presented me a 10-year-old Infinity Engine game that
Right.
really was just a pain to manage my party, and I had all these skills and I didn't know what they did, and
It was a little
just kinda,
too faithful.
yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of threw you in under the water though, and they do some abstract ideas in here, or maybe abstract isn't the word. It's very different from what you would normally expect in any RPG.
Right.
But now that I've played it, like I really like, they've done really well on the intro. Because one, you have quality writing. Two, they very much baby step you in. You only make one character at the start. That's your main character. They're the ones who the story kind of revolves around, of course. And you can make other characters later on, but through the whole intro sequence, you cannot. So
Nice. Yeah, that's always kind of an issue, if you go back to certain games, or you go back to especially D&D games, or D&D based games, which I believe Pillars of Eternity is not D&D based.
no, it's not.
You always start out where they're like, mix 7 party members, and you're like, I don't even know what Constitution is, and you want me to make like a whole team? I don't even know, like, is lockpicking a good skill in this game? I don't know, So I kind of appreciate that they're sticking to, the games that made them famous in the first place, but still modernizing it and still kind of easing you into it.
It's still a little bit complicated, but
Yeah.
everything has a rollover box that shows up.
Nice.
The hardest thing for me to get used to, or at least I didn't understand it at all in the beta, but now that I've played the game, I understand it more. What keeps you active in combat is not your hit points, but your endurance.
Okay.
And you only like when an enemy hits you, they mostly take it out of your endurance. So it's actually really hard to permanently lose a character in the game.
Oh, okay.
And in the demo, they had no explanation of that at all. And I was just like, I don't understand what's happening. He's full on health points, but he's laying on the floor.
Yeah.
The other thing is they did crazy things with everything. I guess I'll stick to the mechanics for now to kind of broaden my scope of their crazy things. I went ahead and rolled up a monk, and kind of the monk works is, and at first it gave me like really bad flashbacks to the old Baldur's Gate games, because in those games you would take on wounds and they would affect your character's performance, and you would have to get a special injury kit, like in the original Dragon Age,
Right.
to get it removed.
Boy,
And
that
in
was a
this,
pain.
yeah. In this one, you want your monk to have wounds. No one else gets wounds but the monk. And he gets wounds by taking hits. And then what he does is he uses a wound to use one of his powers.
Oh, okay.
So it's this neat kind of give and take scenario. And he has kind of skills to where he can take more wounds at once as he levels up. The hard part for me has been kind of figuring out because like whenever you roll up your character, they have stars by the stats that matter most to that class.
Oh, that's helpful.
But the other part of me also wonders, like I've heard all these interviews with the guys behind the game system, and they've really aimed to create classes that will still benefit. Like if you decided you wanted a dumb mage, was one of their examples.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that, and there would actually be benefits to having a stupid mage.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But
Sort of
I
like
haven't-
Fallout, when you have a really dumb character, there's at least really funny dialogue choices that can get you through a situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
like their goal was to make a scenario where you could use whatever you wanted in your party, however you wanted. And I don't. From playing it now, I'm not convinced that they succeeded, but I haven't been too experimental in what I'm doing.
Sure.
Like,
And they probably mean mostly like that you can actually complete the game. Maybe you're seeing like 50% of what you normally would if you had a really intelligent magic focused mage, but at least you could finish the game.
well, and part of me thinks I messed up because I saw this Twitter retweet by one of the Obsidian guys where someone had made, they were calling it their 6-player bear party.
Okay.
It was all druids and stuff, and they would just 6 druids shapeshifting into bears and rolling over everything, I guess.
Wow.
But,
That's actually sounds really fun.
like I don't know how plausible that would be, and I don't know how far you'd have to get into the game to be able to afford that, because like you start out, they still have quality written NPCs with their own personalities and stories. So for you to make like 6 custom characters, you pay money for every character you recruit, and like I just recruited my first character because I couldn't beat these guys in this dungeon. I'm like, I just got to pay to get a 4th guy. So
Yeah, just to like power through it.
yeah, and I made a paladin, and it used like 75% of the money I had to
Whoa.
make that character. So it's not cheap to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did chat
I
get you?
read the wrong thing. Yeah, that completely screwed me up. Mechanics. So, the other problem I think the game has is I don't think I'm ever going to choose a race that's not a godlike whenever I make a character. Because godlikes are just, they're crazy looking. They have these weird growths in their head, and they get like crazy skills. Like my main character is a death godlike that is a monk.
How can you pass that up?
Yeah. It seemed appropriate. Martial artist thing,
Yeah.
The paladin I made is a moon godlike, which she occasionally emits a radiance that heals the party's endurance.
Oh wow.
And the paladin class is a skill that does that too. So she is like in the middle of all my frontline guys, keeping them all alive.
Yeah,
And
pretty much unstoppable.
yeah, it's been pretty sweet so far. The game is fairly difficult, but it didn't get difficult for probably 3 or 4 hours for me.
Oh, good.
The whole intro sequence is super easy. If it's not super easy for you, I apologize.
Does it have difficulty settings at least?
It does.
Okay, cool.
It's like 4 or 5 difficulties.
Oh, nice.
They even have an Iron Man mode if you
Ooh.
hate yourself.
Yeah, if you really want to punish yourself.
I'm playing it on normal. I thought about doing it on easy because I never, like, as much as I played the old Baldur's Gate games, I was never good at them. And I also tended to download trainers and adjust my save files a lot.
Yep. Yeah, there's no shame in it. We got other stuff to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Even back then.
Yeah.
But so far this game I haven't really felt any need to think I need to cheat. Like every encounter that I haven't been able to pass, I've just left it, did something else, like did one more quest or recruited someone and then came back and took them out.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying Pillars of Eternity. Like the music's good, the art direction's cool, the world is this crazy world where you're I don't want to spoil the intro for anyone. But like kind of the basis of the world is you have people who entirely specialize in kind of soul magic, and that they can see people's souls, they can talk to residual souls that are still there. And like the first town you come into, and this is a very, very minor spoiler that I don't think will affect anyone, but you come into town and there's this giant tree with all these dead bodies hanging from it, and it's because the town has only been able to give birth to soulless children for a bit. And I guess soulless children are I can't even compare them to Dragon Age's whatever they do to the mages that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I don't remember.
Yeah. Like, I get the impression that they aren't even functional in the game. I haven't met one that is soulless, but it seems to me they're just kind of comatose and barely alive kind of deal. But so far, I've really enjoyed all the characters I've recruited. The game has already pulled on my heartstrings a bit.
Oh, nice.
The intro's freaking awesome. What else can I say about this game? Oh yeah, one of the really cool things I like about it is they have, like, if you've ever played an old Baldur's Gate game, they always have formations, and they usually have, like, they represent them with dots. You know, they'll have like one that's like 6 dots and 2 lines, and then they'll have like a triangle and things like that. Well, they have a custom one too. They actually have 2 custom presets you can adjust, and it's just like got this massive range. It's like a, I don't know, 10 by 10 tile where you can put any of your guys in.
That's awesome.
So I have enjoyed that aspect of it. I just recently remembered that was there.
Yeah. It's nice to see them, modernizing all that stuff, where it's, offering enough options that maybe it's a little too much rope, but it's enough that you feel like you can make your own choices without having to. Oh God, I just remembered it. Tranquil.
Yeah, that's it.
That just blew out my train of thought, unfortunately, though. So good for modernization. I like that. Boy, we are just having a day here.
Yeah, it does have auto-saving too. The beta I played did not. I don't think it. I think it mainly auto-saves on scene transitions.
Right.
If you've never kind of played a game like this before, it really is all about exploration. So very much explore, get used to hitting F5, your quick save key.
Yep. Yeah, look around the whole floor of every dungeon you go in. Yeah. Talk to everybody.
I guess one unfortunate design aspect is you don't always see the things you can pick up. And you can press the tab button to see them, but that creates, a Dragon Age 1 situation where you're just holding that button down everywhere you go.
You're just tapping it every couple seconds.
Yeah. Well, no, I literally just hold it down.
Oh, nice.
No seconds.
Oh, I was thinking more of Inquisition, where you had that little ping,
yeah.
and you just keep pinging as you're going through.
Yeah.
Until they patch that.
Trying to think of what else, because I'm not like super far into it.
I mean, it sounds like it's pretty solid. It's kind of what you would want out of Obsidian making one of those games in 2015.
Yeah. There's lots of it as a reputation system in it.
Oh boy, that'll be my downfall.
It's I mean, it's based on how you talk to people and what you do for them.
Oh, okay.
so you can have a benevolent reputation in the Gilded Vale, I think is one of the places, or something like that. Like I'm just kind of being a nice guy on this walkthrough. Like there's plenty of opportunities to be a jerk. And
Yeah.
they even have like
knowing Obsidian, you could be a super jerk.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
They even have whole like priest and paladin like sects that are entirely based on being jerks. So
wow. Obsidian.
To me right now, it seems like a really good game. I can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely what's been in my player the most this last week. I guess moving on, I'll just start making through my list. Evidently, I played some Dragon Age Inquisition this month. I don't really remember it, but I guess I beat a drag. Oh, that's right. They announced some new patch notes, and I wanted to go in and see what changed, and I beat a dragon while I was at it. They added a chest for inventory overflow to the forge area, which needed that.
Nice. Yes, that was sorely needed.
Yeah. Other than that, man, I need to beat that game, but man, that not being able to do what's his name's end friendship mission really took the wind out of my sails. And now that even though that I've done it now, I just have had a hard time getting it back.
Yeah.
Let's see. I played a little bit more Hyperdimension Neptunia. I may not play any more of this. I don't know. Kind of what happened is it was an okay game and I was trotting along, and then the story was like, plot twist, but not really. But these guys betray you and now you're stuck in this dungeon.
That's the worst.
Okay, I can deal with this. I've leveled up a little bit, so I get through the dungeon and I beat the boss of the dungeon and get out. Automatic cutscene after I get out.
Oh.
And then automatic boss battle.
The worst combo.
Mm-hmm. And then I died, and that's 2 hours I just lost.
Yeah, man.
So
RPGs, come on.
Yeah, that was. I have better ways to spend my time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I hate saying that. Like and there may be another dead month where I'll say maybe I'll pop this back in and put up with a little bit of its BS, but we'll see.
Yeah, we got other games to play.
Played a little bit of Warframe. Got the new frame that they released. Warframe has a unfortunate trend that they are sailing on now, where some of their new weapons, and this new Warframe in particular, require pieces or weapons in their crafting formulas. So to make the new Chroma Warframe, you had to make a helmet for a Vault, a helmet for a Saren, I think, and the systems for a Nyx or something like that. Basically, it amounted to about 8-9 days of crafting.
Oh, boy.
Which is pretty rough. He's kind of a cool Warframe, but I don't know. I still haven't gotten to run the raid. I'm losing hope on that. Like, whenever I watch the Recruit channel and people running raids on there, they're like, want people who only know what they're doing. And I'm like, well, I
don't. So sorry.
Probably spent more time in this game than a lot of people, but nope.
It's like looking at the Destiny Fire Team subreddit, where it's like, you have to have this weapon, and know how to do this, and you got to carry the sword, and you're like, well, I don't have any of those, so I guess I won't play Destiny.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course I played Destiny.
Yep. Ran the, you and I and a bunch of peeps ran the Crota's End raid again. I actually wrote down a list of peeps that we've run into this last month to give some people some shout-outs here.
Sweet.
Hot Sauce Steve, Gidbix, Joey, Dude Since 85. Had a bunch of new peeps and some old peeps that we were kind of running with this month, and always happy to see TVGP and PUP people playing some Destiny with us.
Yeah, and that DLC will be out in May at some point, so that's
yeah.
Trying to think of anything new to say about Destiny. We did better on that raid than we'd ever done.
Did really well until we got to the end, and then we were our own worst enemies.
Yeah. Well, and we did better. We still did better on Crota than we had ever done in previous attempts without an expert with this, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll get it one of these times. And I'm at the point where I got 2 level 30s and 1 level 32. So I'm very much kind of at a break point with it, especially with Pillars of Eternity and Bloodborne out. Just kind of wanting to spend my time more there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of... well, there's no new content right now that is really that appealing. You know, I'm marching 2 of my characters towards 30, and once I hit that, you know, I'm probably going to do that pretty slowly. Once I hit that, I'll probably be taking a break until House of Wolves comes out. Because like we were talking about before we started recording, is it's safe to assume that we're going to be spending a lot of time with House of Wolves when it comes out. So I kind of don't want to burn myself out on the game now, and then the DLC comes out and we're like, ugh, I have to do all this gear stuff, and it should be like, all right, I can get back into Destiny. All right, that sounds okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll have some new hurdle that'll make us grow in a little bit. I know they have the fans in mind now, but part of me think that's inevitable.
Yeah, the treadmill will still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? I started testing out streaming with some really, really old games.
Ooh.
So in my stream channel, by the way, I think it's just John Musum on Twitch, but the actually Bard's Tale was the first one I started out with. And that game is, I've decided, really boring to stream, and I'm not sure if I'll do that. And granted, that was my first kind of streaming solo attempt, and it was... I mean, the problem with Bard's Tale is I have, like, a lot of key sequences and where things are in the game memorized, and it's a lot of killing things until you're the right level to go to the new place. It's, you know, it's an old game. But I'm close to beating it. I'm not sure what level I want to get my guys to before I transfer them to Bard's Tale 2. But I kind of want to go through all 3 Bard's Tales just on the off chance that they allow us to import our characters into Bard's Tale 4.
Right.
I don't really see how they'll be able to do that, but...
You never know. I think they're on GOG, right?
Yeah, they're on everything.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're out there. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I own at least 5 or 6 copies, so...
Yeah.
Let's see, and then the other game I started streaming was Star Control 2, which I think was a little bit better to stream. And in playing that, I realized that I probably shouldn't have recommended it to the TVGP Games Club.
It's a little dense.
Yeah, well, it's dense, and it's kind of grindy in that you have to collect a metric ton of minerals to be formidable in combat, and you got to do it really quick. I say really quick. The problem is like in Star Control 2, there are satellites that have been programmed wrong and will talk to you and then immediately attack you. And they are better than anything you start out with. So they're very difficult to fight early in the game. So you want to... there's really not a great solution for those. Like, if you upgrade your main ship enough, then you can get there. But, like, the best upgrades you got to get... Well, there's a whole economy system. There's a guy called the Trader where he deals in basically information. You either give him animals or you give him Rainbow World locations. And basically he gives you new technologies to upgrade your ship with. But then you still got to go mine the minerals to buy the upgrades. But like story-wise, I think it's pretty good, and I don't know. People seemed entertained.
Yeah.
The 2 or 3 that showed up.
Humble beginnings and all that.
Yeah. I don't know. I might do that one again, but I'm just really limited on time, so it hasn't been on my mind.
That's why I haven't been streaming lately either, is I don't have a lot of time to like sit down at my computer for an hour or 2 and stream something. Unless it's Final Fantasy V, but we're still a couple months away from that.
Yeah. Man. Oh yeah. And last but not least, played some Bloodborne.
Yes. I
Uh,
haven't picked this up yet, and I've just been enjoying everyone talking about it. Like, yes, I need it.
man, I really like that game, but it hasn't like quite put the super addiction pull on me. And I think
Right.
it's only because I'm like, Pillars of Eternity, Bloodborne, and I have all this other crap in life that I need to be doing right now too. So it's
This whole like being an adult thing.
yeah, kind of scary, like
The least fun part.
getting sucked into a productivity killer. But
Yeah.
man, Bloodborne is a trip. It is like when I played Demon Souls and Dark Souls, I was a spear shield wielder. So
Hmm.
like the shield would absorb. I can't remember if it absorbed 100% or 80%, but somewhere in there. It absorbed most of the attack, and you didn't have to put your shield down to hit with the spear.
Right.
And then I, grabbed a few spells. In Demon Souls, I grabbed the healing spells. In Dark Souls, I was a pyromancer because that just sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Why wouldn't you pick that?
I don't
A fire thrower? Yeah.
like. I watch the streams where people are complaining about like magic users being cheaters in the game, and I'm
Whatever,
like,
man. I'm throwing fire. Trying to invade my game.
on. It's like that Cartoon Network, the Adult Swim blip where someone was like, I don't see what the big deal about Witch Hunter Robin is. All she does is like light things on fire with her mind.
Yeah.
And Adult Swim's like, well, yeah, I guess that's true, except she lights things on fire with her mind. Like, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Bloodborne doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, which is I think really interesting that From
It's-
Software is like, remember all that stuff that people loved? We're gonna make something that's as good but really different.
Yeah, it's it is intense. It is so intense. I like because I was already kind of a pretty good dodger from the other games, so I at least had that going for me. But like getting used to doing having a gun to freaking stun your enemy so you can stab them. I mean, that's a trip.
Yeah. Which I think is just such a cool system because I think that people thought that like, oh, you have a gun, so it's gonna be like Devil May Cry or it does a ton of damage. It's like, no, it's just like a frame interrupter.
Yeah, pretty much. And then having your weapon that on the fly you can switch to kind of crowd control or quick hits. I mean,
God, all those animations look so cool.
they are so epic. I love the freaking weapons in this game.
Yeah.
So like I can't remember what I even started at as in this game. But my biggest regret is not stealing the other Jay-Z's idea. And like one of the starting weapon options is a cane, and he felt that you should name a character Michael Caine. And select that. I kind of regret not doing that. My understanding is the cane kind of functions like a whip or something. But
Yeah, I've seen some videos of it where it's a normal cane, and then once you extend it, it's kind of like Ivy's whips from Soul Calibur.
oh god,
Yeah, yeah, man, super
I
cool.
I used Ivy a lot in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, you did. Those whips are cool.
Yeah, they are. Freaking Brotherhood of the Wolf. That dude had one.
Oh, that's right. That movie was awesome. Go watch Brotherhood of the Wolf if you haven't, dear listeners. That movie is sweet.
That is, man. I haven't thought about that in a
I saw
while.
that in the theaters. I think that was the last time I saw it.
I might own a copy. It's been a long time. It's like some weird French live action movie that's very anime-ish in a
Yeah,
lot
like-
of aspects.
French kung fu.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot
Anyway.
like Bloodborne. Victorian kung fu.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I really dig Bloodborne.
I
I'm
really
only
need to get it.
I'm only on like the second boss, so I'm barely in it at the moment. And I've only fought the second boss once and lost, and didn't really feel the need. Like when I lost, I was out of like blood vials, which are what you heal yourself with, and can't remember if I used all my Molotovs or not, but basically what would have meant is that I would have had to gone back in the game and go around killing regular guys till I had enough blood vials and then go fight them again.
Right.
The other problem I think I'm having in the game is I'm not even trying to level up half the time. I have lost so many souls. I've upgraded like two different weapon types. Yeah, I okay. The other JC says I can buy vials, but I don't want to buy vials. What I want to do is buy all the other awesome looking weapons and see how they play.
Yeah, like the
Um,
Kirk hammer.
exactly. That thing
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
it is awesome.
Um, and God, the second boss I thought was freaking awesome. I mean, he was just an. I don't want to spoil what he is or does or anything like that, but
Yeah, because the bosses really are the meat of any
yeah.
From Software Souls type game.
But like when I got to it, I wasn't even sure that it was a boss.
Oh, cool.
Like it took a moment to realize that it was. And the other thing this game does differently is you don't know when you're walking into a boss fight.
Oh, dangerous.
There's no the fog door is not there until you encounter it the first time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
That's kind of cool, though.
I like it. Yeah. The hard part for me is trying to follow up on the story threads it gives me because there's all these people you can talk through that have locked themselves in their houses, and some people, like this one lady, wanted me to find a safe place for her to go. This one little girl wanted me to find her mom, who I assume is dead. Um,
That's probably a safe assumption in the Bloodborne world. She's some sort of
yeah,
shambling horror.
it's not like anything good is going to come out of that story arc, you
Yeah, you
know?
don't open a building and she's eating like a roast ham. She's like, I'm doing okay. I was just taking a break.
I mean, if she's alive, that means the little girl's going to die when I get back to her. I mean,
Probably, yeah.
that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess the other Jay Z has corrected me and says that he came across a boss fight where there was a fog wall. Um, oh wait, what? And the boss fight happens as you approach it.
Maybe that's a really trolly boss.
That's amazing. That's
Ah,
amazing.
Bloodborne.
Um,
You're crazy.
gosh, that game's cool. I look forward to playing it more. I wish I had more spare time to play games, but I have.
I wish more games would let you pause. Like, I
Yeah,
understand why Bloodborne and Destiny don't, but, you know, I'd still kind of like to.
yeah,
I have stuff to do.
I'll get back to it. I don't know. I'm feeling Pillars right now, and I'll get back to Bloodborne soon. But
Yeah.
I think that's all I've been playing.
All right, I have 3 Final Fantasy games and 1 game that isn't Final Fantasy, so let's get started. Final Fantasy Type 0 HD came out this last month on PS4. I have played about the bare minimum of that game. There's maybe a 20-minute intro, and I have played maybe 25 minutes. That game does not lead off on the right foot, and does not really welcome you to it, and that game is dark as hell. So I it has been I've been working a lot, so sort of when I come home, I'm not entirely looking forward to a game where a chocobo dies for about 15 minutes on screen. Um,
Oh
yeah, brutally. It was
God!
it's not your standard Final Fantasy intro where it's like, hey, everything's okay. Oh, there's the bad guy. Let's save the world. It was like, no, nothing is okay. Um,
We're gonna murder your childhood in front of your eyes in slow motion.
yeah, and then a dude's gonna die on top of this chocobo and say goodbye to it for about 5 minutes. And then, as part of the intro, it mentioned a Lassie, and I was like, no, no, please not again. I can't do this again. So I forgot that Type 0 HD was in the Final Fantasy 13 world, but apparently that is one of the few mentions it makes towards all of that jibber jabber. Mina has said that apparently it gets way better after the intro. I just haven't had time to go back to it yet to kind of get over that hump. Yeah, I don't know if I'm in the right place for a super bummer game like that right now, but I'm glad that it's out, and I'm glad that I bought it because I'm super happy to see that it has come out. And the other Jay-Z in chat says a 20-minute intro is still better than a 10-hour tutorial. Amen. I will agree with you on that nearly every time. But I did play a little bit of the Final Fantasy 15 demo that came with that game. Demo's pretty long. And I know the Hannah from TVGP played it more than I did. I played probably about a half an hour and decided I really, really, really like it. So I'm not going to keep playing the demo. A decision that I know the Hannah was surprised about on TVGP. But
That demo looks freaking awesome. Like, I think I might actually pick up Final Fantasy 15 on day one just from some of the stuff I've seen and heard about it.
I think the thing that impressed me the most is I think from the demo, I think they succeeded in doing what they tried to do with Final Fantasy 12 and 13, all the 13s, which is make an action RPG battle system that still seems like Final Fantasy. I think they didn't really hit the mark in 13. We've talked 13 to death, so I'm not going to keep beating that horse. But there's a lot of fair criticism against 13 on how you pick a paradigm and then you just kind of hit auto battle and things happen. I feel like in 15 they kind of took that and made it a lot more interesting. The main character creates swords out of thin air. So as you're attacking enemies, you're bringing out all these different swords that you equip on your character. It's always sort of like, well, you have this one sword for quick attacks, normal attacks, and you have this sword for heavy attacks, but you also have a different sword for when you're finishing a combo and stuff like that. And it just feels so action-y, where you can teleport to an enemy that you're at any point. You can teleport up to like a water tower to kind of hang out and regen your health and your MP. It just feels really good, and I think it feels really good in a way that I think we wanted Final Fantasy 13 to be, where we wanted it to be this really well put together, really well crafted, action-y RPG. Because either it's going to be something where it's Final Fantasy 9 and below, or it's going to be something, or 10 and below, or it's going to be something action-y. You can't try and meet in the middle like that. So it just feels really good. And I didn't really want to finish the demo because, like I said on TVGP, I have a bad habit where I play a demo and I like it and I play it to death. And then I get to that point in the final game and I'm like, ugh, I played this already. And then I just never get past that in the full game. So I got a sampling. I really liked it. So uninstalled it from my PS4 and I sort of said, all right, I know that I definitely want that day one, so I'm just gonna enjoy that experience when it comes up. So I wholeheartedly recommend it. It seems like it's gonna be really great. It's also in the Final Fantasy 13 sort of mythos, but apparently it makes almost no references to all the lascive, fal'Cie stuff that nobody liked. So that's positive. And it looks good. Frame rate problems in the demo, of course, because the game isn't done yet. But the director said that's stuff that they're going to sort out by the end of the development. So,
does that game come out this year?
I don't think we know.
Okay.
I feel like they haven't announced anything firm. I sort of expect that to be at E3 and TGS. One of the two of them, I'm sort of expecting them to say, late 2015, early 2016, I'm assuming. I think they said they're 80% through with it or something. The other Jay-Z in chat says water towers are the new tents. That's something interesting about the game, is that you actually don't level up until you go put a tent down somewhere at a campsite and then rest for the night. Then all of your experience you've gained out in the field goes and applies to your characters.
It's very old school Elder Scrolls of them.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting that I know that there's going to be stuff in this game that isn't necessarily going to work out, but I really appreciate them trying to play with expectations of what a Final Fantasy game is.
It sounds like such a fun concept to me, which I don't remember the last Final Fantasy that I felt that about. Like a group of dudes going on a freaking road trip and
Yeah.
then occasionally having to fix their car. I don't know. Like the premise sounds like in a way it sounds super dumb to me, but in another way it sounds really exciting
Yeah.
that they would do something that simple.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, I think the thing that I'm excited about is it's something different. You know, like we saw with Final Fantasy 12, like we saw with Final Fantasy 8. You know, it's them sort of saying, "All right, we've done Final Fantasy before. Let's kind of do something radically different, and let's just see if it works." And I respect that, and I'm excited to try it because when they've tried it before, like 8 and 12, I think they have succeeded.
I
So,
almost went and bought Type Zero just for the for the demo, like so
yeah,
many others, but I refrained. And honestly, I kind of want to play Type Zero anyway, but
it's supposed to be really great.
I don't have time for it right now.
Yeah, that's part of my problem too. Is I just don't have the raw time to do any of that. So, and I downloaded the free to play iOS and Android game Final Fantasy Record Keeper, which I have been looking for quite a while since it got rave reviews in Japan. It is a DNA developed Final Fantasy game where basically it's your standard free to play trappings, but it's basically there is this library, this sort of art gallery that has all these paintings that capture the history of every Final Fantasy game. And something is corrupting them, some evil darkness. And you need to go into each painting and sort of cleanse all the darkness out of them to restore the Final Fantasy games. The other Jay-Z in chat says, Record Keeper is very talky. Yes. Almost none of it matters, because I just summarizes the plot for you. And even that doesn't really matter. Basically what it is DNA has crafted a love letter to the entire Final Fantasy series. Basically, you get to relive the famous environments and boss battles from every Final Fantasy game. They don't have all of it in there yet because it's still under development. But, you know, as soon as you land in the game, you start... the first game it gives you is Final Fantasy VII, of course. And the first battle you're in is kind of the first Mako reactor, where you fight that Scorpion tank at the end, and they do a really good job because they recreate all the look of each game. They recreate the monsters of each game. The menu and the battles have the appropriate music in them. So it's all kind of crafted to be like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII. Then they give you like the 4 games they have unlocked, or 5 games right now they have unlocked. 4, sorry, is 7, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, and 10. So 5 games. And you can get about, I'd say, halfway through 4 and 6. I think those are the deepest they get. It's kind of one of those mindless free-to-play games where you can kind of hit auto battle and you're okay most of the time. But it doesn't really try and screw you with stamina or anything, because you know every battle it takes a little bit of stamina off your bar. Every 3 minutes you get another point of stamina, which is totally reasonable. I never had to spend any money in the game, and it's just kind of fun. It's kind of fun to relive your favorite Final Fantasy games and play a free to play game that doesn't feel like it's grabbing for your wallet at every point. And it's just kind of like, hey, you like Final Fantasy? Hey, we do too. You can have some Final Fantasy on your phone. How's that sound? It's pretty good. It's
Cool.
free. So, you were going to say something, sir?
No, not really.
Oh,
Good and free is appealing.
yeah. And it's, go get it. It's a free download. You kind of can't go wrong. And the last game I played is the Borderlands Handsome Collection came out for PS4 and Xbox One. My wife and I picked that up because we want to play pre-sequel, which we haven't really played. And boy, those games look great. Obviously, it goes without saying that the PC version is going to be the one that looks the best. But it's 1080p, 60 frames on PS4. Heard the Xbox One version has some screen tearing issues with the pre-sequel. I don't have that version, so I'm not entirely sure about that one. But man, if you have never played a Borderlands game before, this package is Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, both with all of the DLC. And Borderlands 2 has every piece of DLC they ever came out with. So like the characters, all the extra episodes, all like those holiday-themed episodes, all the skins and heads, something like 85 DLC packages. If you never played Borderlands 2, this is a pretty good time to jump in because you get everything, and that game is still pretty great. Pre-sequel is it's the pre-sequel. It has not endeared my wife and I to continue to obsessively play it like we did Borderlands 2.
So I have a question. If someone hasn't played the Borderlands franchise, would you say they should start with the pre-sequel in this package?
I would not recommend that because I don't think the pre-sequel delivers the same sort of experience that 1 and 2 does. I think the oxygen in that game really pushes you along a little too fast at the beginning of the game. I think the pre-sequel assumes that you've played at least Borderlands 2, if not 1 and 2.
Oh, gotcha.
I think when you play Borderlands 2, you have that whole boss battle in the beginning, and it starts you off really slowly. But with pre-sequel, you're running around, you're shooting dudes almost immediately. Handsome Jack is yelling at your ear. It's pushing you a little bit faster. I think 2 does a much better job of easing you into it without kind of being behind you and kind of snapping its fingers at you. And the pre-sequel so far is just not as good as Borderlands 2. I have not completed very much of it, but when you play Borderlands 1 and 2, I think you immediately sort of get pulled into it, and you're like, okay, yeah, all right, I want to keep playing more of this. Oh, it's 3 a.m, okay. But with pre-sequel, I think it's less than, for whatever reason. But I'm not gonna pass too much judgment because I haven't played enough of it. But there's no hook like there was in Borderlands 1 and 2. So
gotcha.
And Borderlands 2 is just so good, and there's so much game there, even without all the DLC. That's a pretty meaty game by itself.
Yeah.
And then I have all that DLC, which most of it was pretty good. The holiday stuff was fine, though fairly short, and most of the big DLC was pretty good. Hammerlocks was not the best, but yeah, so much. And man, just to at least have it on PS4. Unfortunately, I couldn't carry my characters over. You can do it only between console families. So we played on 360, and now we're playing on PS4. Couldn't carry our characters over, but it's nice of them to put that feature in to between console families, because basically you pop the old version in, you update it, you upload your character to the cloud, you pop the new version into your new console, and then you just download your character, and it carries over everything, which is super great. But yeah, I'm hoping to play more of that this month once we get a little bit of breathing room. And hopefully have a little bit deeper impressions about that game. But unfortunately, I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately, which we already talked about. So that's all I've been playing, so let's take a break.
Okay.
Oh, boy. It's getting warm in here.
Let me go grab some water, and I'll be ready.
Okay. Mm. Oh, how's everybody doing in chat? Cat, what was that noise? Oh, he's dreaming. Just doing this with his paws. Man, I love cats. Kitten. Oh, this cat. Other Jeezy says, I'm amazed that Destiny has had legs like this for you guys. Honestly, it's because of the group of guys that we're playing it with, guys and gals. It's if I didn't have that social aspect there, or I didn't have like the mini treadmill I could run on for about half an hour every day, I'm not sure it would have had the same lasting power.
Yeah, it is really fun gameplay. I mean, games where you get to use powers are always a plus.
Space magic, you got that.
Yeah,
Jay-Z, if you played the beta weekend, I think, I hate to be this guy, but there's so much of the game that is so positive in the end game, and how they change a lot of the strikes and the encounters. I don't want to say that the true game starts once you hit level 20, but I found a lot of the compelling part of the treadmill got me at that point. Though I am really susceptible to MMOs in general. You give me a lot of reputation bars and you tell me there's a bunch of currencies, and I go, well, I got to get those currencies, right? There's got to be some cool gear, right? Usually the answer is no.
Yeah.
That's how WoW got me for. How long did I play WoW for? 5-6 years straight. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there are plenty of games that don't require 30 hours of leveling to be fun. I'll stick with those. Yeah. I mean, it's Destiny.
Although in truth, it only takes you about probably 4 to 6 hours to get to 20, I bet.
Yeah, but I mean, if that type of game doesn't appeal to you, Destiny is not going to be the game that's like, you need to play it because it changes the face of MMOs. It kind of sticks to the status quo, even if the status quo might be a couple years old. But I like shooting aliens in the face or the stomach. It's okay by me.
All the melee attacks in that game are freaking awesome too.
Yeah. Part of the reason why Destiny is so appealing for me is it's very much a comfort food game right now. And there's been so much stress in my life in general that I really need a good comfort food game. And Destiny has filled that void for me.
That's kind of what Destiny and Warframe do, and it's
Yeah.
I've kind of realized that if I'm ever going to play another kind of online game like one of those, I have to stop playing one of those.
Right. Yeah, you can't just add another one of those.
Yeah. All my friends are like, "Man, we just need another co-op game like what was that one that Ubisoft's coming out? Like The Division." And I'm like, yeah, which one of these am I going to quit playing?
Right. Yeah, which one do I have to give up?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm at the point where I just want more single player 8-hour games.
Yeah, I've been also playing a lot of Lego Batman 3, which is like it's a kids game, but at some point you kind of need that, like, you need that easy reading mystery book. The video game version of that.
Oh yeah, I don't know if this is news or if we should just talk about it in the break. But did you see that trailer for Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem? Shin
No,
Megami Tensei Crossfire Emblem?
I had not seen the trailer.
It's not a 2D fighter.
Oh,
It's like a full blown RPG. It looks like Persona, just maybe a little
interesting.
curvier. But it's yeah, you should go watch that when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Also, the other GZ, the reason why I haven't put that game in to play it is because it's not great. Sorry. I don't mean to burst anybody's bubble, but a game that's funny doesn't mean it's a game that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty bland gameplay wise. But I beat it. I like Deadpool.
I feel like Deadpool gets a lot of any things that feature that character get a lot of passes because that character breaks the fourth wall.
That's probably true.
Yeah. He's fine, but I've never been the biggest Deadpool fan anyway.
I think he works better in with a group.
Right.
Like the funniest moments in the Deadpool game are the moments where there are 2 or 3 X-Men or X-villains standing around having to endure his insanity.
Yeah, he really needs a straight man.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel about the comics. Like I picked up the first, I don't know, 6 or 8 issues of Brian Posehn's run on Deadpool.
Oh boy.
And
I like Brian Posehn, but I feel like that would be a little insufferable.
I've been told it's really good. I didn't think it was good.
Yeah.
I thought whoever did the art in it, I thought was neat because I'm not sure what it reminded me of, but it just had this real distinct art style that I felt fit the mood of it. But I couldn't even finish reading all the issues I bought from it. It was how much I wasn't really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I have many friends who are going to tell me I'm a bad person for saying that.
Hey man, you're the one spending the money. if it's something you don't enjoy, don't spend the money.
But like for me, like the Deadpool game, like the ending I thought was genius.
Yeah.
But like getting through that first, like for me, I think the hardest part to get through in that Deadpool game is when you encounter that helicopter at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Like you're like, do I run from this? Am I supposed to shoot it? What is supposed to be going on here?
Yeah.
And I think once you get past that part, it's a little more bearable, but it still has a lot of really frustrating aspects to it. Yeah, it needed some more time in the oven.
In whichever oven it needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We unfortunately don't have any tweets or emails this week, so another front-loaded episode of PUP, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Are you ready to knock the rest of this thing out?
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, excuse me. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about RPG releases for April 2014. One of the games that I'm really looking forward to that I think may surprise me, Etrian Mystery Dungeon for the 3DS, coming out on the 7th. I hope that game's good. That should be in. I'm hoping it's another good chocolate and peanut butter like Persona Q was.
That would be nice.
Seems like a good mashup.
I really like the whole. I've said it before. I really like the whole mashing Etrian Odyssey up with all these other franchises. So.
Yep. Yeah, just keep slapping them together. At least a couple good ones will come out of it. Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin comes out for Xbox One, 360, PS3, PS4, and PC. I think it's out now. I think it came out on April 1st. So if not, hey, there's a dog. I forgot you had dogs.
Oh, yes, I have 2 of them, and I guess he wants me to do something to him. Like let him outside.
Very kindly asking you. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D coming out for the new 3DS, not the old one, don't forget, on the 10th. I'm looking forward to that. I think I have that pre-ordered.
Do you have a new 3DS?
I don't. So here's the problem with the Nintendo games, especially RPGs. There, at some point in a couple months, there will be a NeoGAF thread for someone saying like, "Hey, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D out of print?" And a bunch of people will be like, "Oh yeah, that's been gone for 3 months." And you're like, "Well, now I didn't get one, and they're $80 on eBay. I can't afford that." So,
Crap. That's a good point.
like Atlas games, you just have to get them when they come out, or you can't get them.
That's a very good point.
I don't have the money to buy two of these games this month, but I don't have the money to buy them 6 months from now. But yeah, I really liked Xenoblade when it came out on the Wii. I imported it from Europe thanks to some TVGP listener who I'm forgetting. I'm sorry. And played a little bit there, and I bought the US version. I believe I bought the US version when it came out. If you're going to be like me and you're going to start this game, don't do all the side quests. Don't make the mistake I did, is you will burn yourself out on that game. You really don't need to do them to level up for the main story. You'll be okay. There's so many of them, and a lot of them are neat, but kind of get through the game's stuff that's already there. But I recommend it. The game's super great, and apparently the port is good. No frame rate issues, which is good. Shadowrun Chronicles Boston Lockdown comes out on PC on the 28th. Do you know anything about this one?
I had actually Googled it just a moment ago.
Yeah.
This is evidently Shadowrun Universe, the online game by Cliffhanger.
Oh, I thought this was like Shadowrun.
It is Shadowrun. It's
But
just
a different one.
a different company.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if Microsoft still owns the IP to that. I don't remember who does,
I
but
don't remember, yeah.
the Harebrained Schemes does not own the IP to Shadowrun.
Right, they're licensing it from someone.
Yeah. He said that in his initial Kickstarter. He's like, "Let me tell you how great it is to license out the game I made up."
Right, exactly. Let me tell you what fresh hell that is. The other Jay-Z brings up in chat that Hearthstone's Black Rock Mountain expansion came out this week. It's the second expansion. And he says, does Hearthstone count as an RPG? I don't know, but it's good. And it's free. Everybody should try it. It's a good card game. It's a good one to start out with if you understandably find Magic a little intimidating. All right, those are all the releases, so let's move on to news stories. TSI/SSI started Kickstarter for 7th Dragon Saga, and I just opened it up, and they actually canceled funding.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So I was like, oh man, we could talk about this and help boost it. And then I go, funding, I look at it and it says funding canceled on March 23rd.
Man, that would have been like, it was literally all these old SSI employees doing this too.
Yeah, it looks like they only got about $100,000 out of their $450,000 goal after a little bit of time. So it sounds like they just kind of pulled the chute on it.
Well, that's okay. Hopefully they'll find another way to fund it.
Here we go. From the president, over $100,000 and nearly 2,000 backers have achieved and a new direction discovered. They're postponing it and they're not giving up on it, but they've done some reflection, and they say, we can't create the level of RPG today that we know we'll be able to create tomorrow. So it sounds like we need a little bit more time sort of pitching that game and getting it in the oven before they have another Kickstarter, which, Kickstarter is a good way of testing the waters, and they probably found the water a little bit too chilly. So.
Yeah, well, and people have been real negative on Kickstarter this year, which is a little unfortunate. But
it's unfortunate for a lot of the stuff there's been a lot of good stuff that's been coming out of it. So
yeah, it'll level out, though. I mean,
it always does.
Yeah.
So next news story here. I totally forgot there's a new Fire Emblem game that's coming out in Japan soon. It's actually 2 games. So this is the Fire Emblem If game. White Kingdom and Black Kingdom are kind of the 2 games that are coming out. They're a little bit cheaper than normal. I think they're like $35. White Kingdom is the kind of more traditional, accessible game. So that's kind of, if you haven't played a Fire Emblem game before, you're not like super hardcore in Fire Emblem, maybe that's the game you start out with. Black Kingdom is a more complex storyline and more difficult. So it's kind of your veteran game. It seems it's kind of confusing because if you download the digital version, which is kind of a special edition, or you buy the special edition bundle, it has both sides of the story in there. So basically, White Kingdom is one story and Black Kingdom is another story, and eventually they branch off. It's all kind of confusing because even if you buy one version, you can download the other side of the story for $20 as DLC. So it sounds like they're trying to do something a little more interesting here, but maybe something that might be a little bit more complicated than it might need to be. So
just reminds me of Shining Force for Saturn, because they did this like only one version, like because it was a 3-part game, right? And
yeah,
only the first one released here, but the
I think
second
that was Shining
one,
Force 3.
yeah, that's it. And like the second one was like the opposing army, and then like the third one was like
they wrapped up the whole thing.
Yeah.
That usually doesn't work out.
No, it doesn't.
You know, like I really
especially not for U.S. customers.
No, because I mean, if we're lucky, we'll get this game out here. If we're unlucky, we get like a Persona 2 situation where we get one and it's not really the right one and it's not the true one, and oh boy. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see who brings that out over here. If Nintendo, I think Nintendo brought out Fire Emblem for the 3DS last time. Very curious to see if they bring it out, and if they do, what the hell does that look like in the US? Especially if Nintendo brings it out. A little concerning, maybe.
Yeah. And it just says 3DS, so I guess it doesn't require the new 3DS?
No, I'm assuming there's not going to be a lot of games that will do that other than Xenoblade and Binding of Isaac Rebirth. So, who knows? Speaking of weird DLC decisions, a new DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition came out this month. BioWare announced on a Monday that, hey, the DLC is coming out tomorrow for PC and Xbox One. Everyone, yay! What about, like, PS4? And they're like, well, we can't talk about that right now. And they said, well, okay, is it going to come out to PS4? And they said, well, we can't talk about that right now. Remember that we have timed DLC exclusivity with Microsoft. And I went, I did not know that, as an owner of the PS4 version. So
I didn't know that either till it happened. But it was crazy though. Like who this whole time they're like, no, we aren't even working on DLC.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
did they
man.
even do this, or was this a different company that they
who even knows? Because I think you, Mina, and I were kind of chomping at the bit for any DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition, because that game is really good. And then they're like, no, man, no, we're good. You know, we're working on. How about that new Mass Effect, right? We're working on that. That'll be great. Have you played a multiplayer for Inquisition? Whew, that stuff's good. And we're like, yeah, that's good. But, you know, how about more? And then on a Monday, they just said, hey, it's coming out tomorrow. People were like, oh, the trailer? And they're like, no, the DLC. So, check back tomorrow.
no idea what's going over there. And I know their lead writer switched teams too, David Gator.
Oh, really? Is he on Mass Effect now?
I don't know what he's on. He's on a secret project that he's not allowed to talk about.
Oh, so it's probably not Mass Effect. Weird.
Yeah.
Then BioWare announced the DLC will be coming to PS4, 360, and PS3 in May. Those are my
long
raspberries.
time.
It's long enough that the problem is like apparently the DLC is not that great, and I think it's $15 and it's fairly short. But if it would have come out on PS4 already, I would have just spent the money and cleared through it. They would have had my money.
Here's the other question, because I still haven't beaten Inquisition, so don't spoil it for me,
You
please.
should do
But
that.
I should. I agree
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. But I've gotten the impression the end of the game does not necessarily leave it open for you and your party to have more adventures together.
Correct.
So this DLC would have to happen before the end of the game, right?
Yes, unless they do something to get around that, because when you finish, no spoilers, when you finish Dragon Age, it dumps you back in the world to finish up any side quests or anything. So there's already kind of a precedent there of, you know, you can finish the game and then just keep playing the game. Everything that happened in the ending has happened, but I feel like it's not necessarily, it's not a Cowboy Bebop situation where it's like, well, the movie happened between episodes 23 and 24 because wink wink, you know what happened, right, guys? I feel like there isn't that, but I don't really know. I don't really want to have the DLC spoiled, so I haven't looked at how they handle that or if they do handle it at all. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't know. My Inquisition save isn't really showing up in the Dragon Age Keep tapestry correctly anyway, so I don't even know. I was a little disappointed in that. I probably have to fire up Inquisition again and sync it just to have it show back up, but who knows?
Yeah, I need to get back to that game. It seems like they've patched out all the problems the PC version had over the last few months. So
Yeah, I'm impressed with how much they have been staying on top of that. You know, Dragon Age 1 had a lot of problems, and they patched out quite a few of them, and Dragon Age 2 didn't get a lot of love. Got a lot of DLC, but not a lot of love. And I feel like they've been doing a much better job with Inquisition on doing all of that. So, yeah, it might be a time to, and you know, should be able to wrap it up. The final story bit in that game is probably less than an hour. So you can kind of bang that out, and then it just dumps you back in the world to go about your business.
well, and I actually have two final story bits. I have to go meet I don't know what's a spoiler. I have to go meet what's her name in the forest. I'll put it that way.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I don't know how long that is. Like the last story beat it put me on was like a 4-hour explore runes thing.
Yeah, the forest part is not that long. There's a lot of story, but it's not terribly long. And then you can kind of like just go right into the final boss / dungeon, which isn't that long either. So yeah, you don't have too much left.
Okay, cool.
It goes by faster than you'd kind of think for like the ending of a Dragon Age game.
Their endings are usually pretty freaking epic.
Yeah, it's a very good ending. It's just they don't waste a lot of time.
That's appealing.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. That's all we have for news stories, and actually we don't have any tweets or emails. So if you'd like your tweet or email to show up on the show, you can tweet us at PickingUpPixels or email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Want to give a shout out to Matt Crane, aka Gavacho, who was kind enough to create new album art for the show, which is way better than the thing that I took 2 minutes in Paint.net to create. Obviously, because he's actually a graphic design professional. So kudos to him, and thank you very much. He's the same guy who did the TVGP and Dynamic Soundtrack album art, both of which are outstanding. And this one is no different. So check out his stuff. I think that's it. Oh, e1m1.com for all the other shows. And Musum, where can we find you?
Musum.bandcamp. Oh, yeah, all my music's on iTunes now.
Hey,
so
congratulations.
look up my album In the Worship of Monsters on iTunes. And,
that's a good one.
If you don't buy it, at least give me 5 stars so other people can find it, please.
Yes. I will recommend that album. That album is good.
Let me think. And you can check me out on Twitch at John Musum.
There you go. And don't forget, Ian. Try that again. Mina was unable to join us this month, but you can check her out at hitbox.tv/Risette. That's RISETTE. And this show is at twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. And just search YouTube for PUP RPG Love. I don't even remember what our user. I think it's just youtube.com/E1M1 Network. And that's our show. Thank you for joining me again, Musum.
Yeah, pleasure as always.
And our adventure continues next month. Okay, bye. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for watching this live stream. Always appreciate everybody joining us and chatting with us. And I gotta go because it's super hot in here. So bye. Have a good day.